You ever have one of those friends who doesn't really feel like a friend? You know, the kind that leaves you feeling more confused than anything else? Yeah. Well, today we're going to get into that. It's a super common but really tricky kind of relationship.
Okay, so you've got friend and you've got enemy. What happens when you just slam those two words together? You get something complicated. And that's exactly what we're going to unmask today.
Yep, there it is, a frenemy. The name pretty much says it all, right? It's someone who pretends to be your friend, but underneath it all, they're kind of your enemy. And you really got to get this definition down, because honestly, these kinds of relationships are way more common than you'd think.
So to really wrap our heads around this whole thing, the source material actually breaks it down into 6 different types. Let's open up the frenemy files and meet the first 3.
First on the list? Ah, man, this one's a classic. I'm willing to bet almost everyone listening has met one of these. The gossip.
This really just perfectly shows the two faces of the gossip, doesn't it? They pull you in, they make you feel totally safe, like you can tell them anything. But the second you walk away, boom, that trust is gone, and your secrets are suddenly headline news. Okay, next up in the files, this one has a name that pretty much tells you everything you need to know: the demon.
And look, we're not just talking about a little bit of harmless trouble here. The demon is the one who's actively pushing you to make bad choices. You know, things that could mess with your grades, your reputation, anything really. They make dangerous stuff seem like a blast, and they don't care one bit about the consequences you're going to have to deal with.
All right, to finish up this first batch, we have the frenemy, who is only ever thinking about one person. And, spoiler, it's not you. Let's talk about the user. With this person, friendship is just a total one-way street. The user is a pro at finding you whenever they need something. A favor, a ride, maybe you to cover lunch, again. But the minute you need help, poof, they've vanished. It's all take, take, take.
In this little fact right here, it really gets to the core of how they think. The source makes a point of telling us this. They are famous for borrowing your stuff and then, whoops, just forgetting to return it. It might seem small, but trust me, it's a massive clue about their whole pattern of just taking advantage.
Okay, so that's the first 3 down. Let's jump into the second half of our frenemy files and see what other types are lurking out there. Number 4 on our list is the person who just cannot stand it when you do well. Meet the competitor.
For this person, friendship isn't about being on the same team. Nope, it's a full-on competition, 24/7. No matter what you accomplish, big or small, they have to one-up you. It's never about celebrating your win, it's always about proving they're just a little bit better.
And this right here is why the competitor is so damaging. The source points out that always being compared to someone isn't just annoying. It can actually seriously hurt your confidence and make you feel pretty bad about the cool things you've done.
All right, next up, we have the frenemy, who is just completely unreliable. Say hello to the promise breaker.
This is the person who says, "Yeah, I'll meet you at the mall," and then just doesn't show, or promises to help you with that big project and then totally flakes. The bottom line? With the promise breaker, their words don't mean a thing. You just can't count on them. Period.
And for our last profile, we have the person who is always living in their own personal spotlight. Meet the star.
You know, talking with the star isn't really a conversation. It's more like a monologue. They can go on for hours about their day, their problems, their awesome achievements. But the second you try to talk about what's going on with you, they've checked out. They are not listening.
And this quote from the source? It just nails it. Absolutely nails it. For the star, their best friend is themselves. It's like their whole entire worldview summed up right there.
Okay, so we've laid out all 6 types, but why does any of this even matter? I mean, what's the real danger of having a frenemy anyway?
This analogy from the text is just perfect for understanding the danger. Think about it. A frenemy looks like a friend, right? Kind of like how salt water looks like regular water when you're super thirsty. But the more you drink from that friendship, the worse you actually feel. It doesn't help you feel connected. It actually leaves you feeling even more alone.
And honestly, this is probably the biggest thing to take away from all of this. Listen, anybody can mess up once. We're all human. But what the source makes super clear is that a real frenemy is all about repeated bad behavior. When you start seeing these things happen again and again And again, that is the giant red flag you got to pay attention to.
So, we've walked through all the evidence, right? From the gossip all the way to the star. We've talked about the kind of damage they can cause. And now, it's time to put it all together.
So I'm asking you, is it the demon, the one pushing you to do things you shouldn't? Or maybe it's the competitor, the one who's constantly chipping away at your confidence? Really think about it. Which one of these types do you think is the absolute biggest threat to someone's well-being?